Welcome to This Explainer. Look, if you're building a startup right now, you already know the drill. The entrepreneurial journey is absolutely grueling. But how do you actually survive the relentless friction, the constant doubt of those early days? Today, we're unpacking a battle-tested philosophy from one of the most successful entrepreneurs of our time, Alibaba founder Jack Ma. And we're going to focus on two totally non-negotiable survival tactics for founders: why you must treat everyday complaints as your absolute biggest opportunities, and why you have to stay fiercely, stubbornly loyal to your singular dream. Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get, so stay foolish to your dream and continue to fight. Yeah, it's that famous line from Forrest Gump, but it became a massive emotional anchor for Jack Ma. Keep in mind, this is a guy who was famously rejected from dozens of jobs. He was literally the only applicant turned down by KFC. When he was facing painful daily rejection looking for capital, with absolutely nobody believing in his vision for e-commerce in China, this was the mindset that kept him going. He embraced the uncertainty and he just fought through the pain.
All right, Act 1. The illusion of success versus the reality of rejection.
To really establish a baseline for your startup journey, we have to toss out those shiny, polished success stories you see everywhere. Instead, I want you to look at this number: 18. Consider Alibaba today. It's a towering, massive, global enterprise, right? But it wasn't built overnight. It was forged over the course of 18 incredibly challenging years. We're talking 18 years of making mistakes and facing rejection, day in and day out. But that number 18 is actually a double whammy here, because it's also the exact number of people who started it all, crammed into Jack Ma's apartment 18 years prior. They didn't have some shiny corporate office. It was just a small group of believers in a tiny space, armed with nothing but a shared vision and a totally crazy willingness to face the odds. And this brings us to a major piece of advice for you as a founder. Jack Ma actively warns entrepreneurs against studying typical Harvard Business School success stories. Why? Well, because those narratives almost always hide the messy, painful reality behind the scenes. Instead, he argues that you must analyze mistakes and failures. Now, studying famous failure case studies doesn't mean you'll magically avoid making mistakes yourself. You're definitely going to mess up, but it teaches you the proper attitude toward those mistakes, ensuring that when you fall, you never, ever give up fighting. He's super blunt about this. Rejection is natural. You have to prove yourself. Ma points out that being refused by investors or potential partners isn't a sign that you should just pack it up and quit. Honestly, why should anyone help you on day one? It is completely 100% natural to be rejected. Rejection is simply your cue to get back to work and prove your worth so that people actually want to help you. Moving on to Act 2, the complaint goldmine. This is where we completely reframe the daily friction you face as a founder. The formula here is beautifully simple. Step 1, people complain. Step 2, you solve the complaint. Step 3, opportunity unlocked. Boom. The core rule here is that as an entrepreneur, you should never, ever complain yourself. Leave the complaining to everyone else. Because exactly where others are complaining, a massive gap in the market suddenly opens up for you. Jack Ma literally views a complaining society or a complaining customer base as a literal goldmine. When people complain, the opportunity comes. Solving those exact complaints is the literal definition of business opportunity. If you can fix what everyone else is whining about, you have built a valuable company. You've got to start treating every single complaint you hear as an open invitation to innovate. Which brings us to Act 3, catching the rabbit. Now, this is a critical reality check for any growing startup. Understanding the fundamental difference between the big corporate players and startups like yours. Massive corporations, they are driven by rigid KPIs, key performance indicators. Once a company reaches a certain massive scale, that is literally all management looks at. But small companies, founders, you must be fueled entirely by your dreams. The difference isn't just about revenue scale. It's that small companies still have a beating heart. You have a dream that drives every single frantic decision you make. Check out this brilliant analogy Ma uses for relentless focus. If there are 9 rabbits on the ground, if you want to catch the rabbit, don't change the rabbit, change yourself. If you, as a founder, try to chase all 9 rabbits, meaning you're chasing way too many opportunities, jumping on every new trend, or pivoting your vision every Tuesday, you are going to end up completely exhausted and you will catch absolutely nothing. So what exactly is the rabbit? It's a founder's singular, unwavering dream and core mission. You have to stick to one rabbit. This means staying fiercely loyal to your initial vision. If you aren't catching it right away, don't just abandon the dream to chase an easier one. Instead, change yourself. upgrade your skills, change your tactics, totally revamp your product, but stay loyal to the dream. Let's look at Alibaba's specific rabbit to put this into perspective. Their unwavering dream was always about empowering others using the internet. More specifically, helping young people, supporting small businesses, and empowering women. That was it. That was the whole shebang. It was a dream they stubbornly hold on to from day one in that tiny apartment, carrying it completely untouched through 18 years of explosive growth. They never changed the dream. They just got incredibly good at executing it. Okay, final section. Act 4, building the unbuilt. So what do you do when the actual infrastructure required to achieve your singular dream simply doesn't exist yet? This was the exact reality for Alibaba. When they started in that apartment, everybody called them crazy. Critics were like, how can you do e-commerce in China? There was zero infrastructure, no credit system to process payments, no logistics networks to deliver the goods. The absolute basic necessities for an internet business were completely missing. But instead of throwing in the towel, their mindset was completely revolutionary. If there is no logistics, let's build it. If there is no credit system, let's build it. They didn't look at a lack of infrastructure as a stop sign. They saw it as their mandate. And honestly, this perfectly captures where the world actually needs entrepreneurs in the first place. You exist to build exactly what is missing. So, to wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a direct challenge for your own startup journey. What are your customers complaining about right this very second? And which singular rabbit are you going to catch to solve it? Remember, skip the glossy success stories and study the messy mistakes. Treat those everyday complaints as your absolute biggest opportunities. And no matter how hard it gets out there, stay fiercely, stubbornly loyal to your dream.